foster family, we have 10 pets. They are 3 Westies, Saffron, Belle and Beau, 5 tortoises, Herbie and Bernadette, Amy and Sheldon and Penny, and we have the 2 rabbits who are Poppy and Daisy. And the fact that there is several dogs I find really helps, because we've got several children and everybody can have a cuddle at the same time and everybody can get that attention really. The children that we've had and young people that we've had have often spent more time with the dogs initially, because you can have a chat if you want to chat, you don't get quizzed, you don't get asked anything, and they're just lovely company. So this is what we call the den, and it's our semi-independent room, but this goes down really well. It's got its own entrance, it's got its own set of rules. It is somewhere to practice being independent but safely. We're all in the house, they've got access to the house all the time. I've got a key for the den as well, so it's still one home, but this is a separate area for privacy. We've got rooms in the house for younger, under 16-year-olds. This is probably my favourite and most important thing, and it's our welcome book. So we don't really discuss this book, it's just left on the child's bed and in their own time they just go through it. But what is so important to me, because it introduces our family, there's photographs of everybody that's in our house and a little bit about them as well, what things they like, how old they are. And I think that it's, in the early days, it can be so daunting, and it's who am I with, and it's actually really nice to have a little bit of an explanation, and they also can create talking points. Because food and meals are such a high anxiety area for nearly all of the children that we've had, I like them to know what's coming, and I like them to be able to plan and not worry about their evening meal. So we have a Monday to Friday system, and on Sunday I'll plan out what we're going to have, and they simply just tick their name if they want it. And I have found that since we've introduced this system, I'm not getting asked at breakfast what's for tea, because children were obviously concerned, they were asking the question, and it's there, they open it up, and it's really lovely because spaghetti bolognese always goes down really well, and on Sunday you can hear the little whispers, I can't wait till Wednesday. Before a new foster child comes to join our family, it is an anxious time, but I would say it's more exciting than anything else, and we've got a lot of trust in the county council for matching us to the right placement. So before that child arrives, we don't question, are they right for us, because we're confident that they will be. I would say to people thinking about fostering to ring the local authority and ask as many questions as you can. When I tell people I'm a foster carer, a lot of people immediately say, I've thought about that, or I want to do that, and haven't. And I'll always question, well, why did you not make that call, or why did you stop? And it's often a fear that could be just, I don't know what the word is, it could just be resolved so quickly. And sometimes just asking questions and makes you realise that the things you're worried about aren't really there, or you can speak to somebody that's experienced it and gone through it, and have come out the other side and think, actually no, it is a really rewarding thing to do. I can't see myself doing anything different.
Yep, we are live now, Chair.
Okay, thank you very much indeed. So welcome to this afternoon's Finance and Major Contracts Management Committee. I'm reliably informed this is the 101st online meeting that we've held since the beginning of the pandemic. So hopefully IT issues accepted, we'll be getting quite proficient at these online meetings. So can I welcome everyone to the meeting? I'll just run through the attendance. So myself, Richard Jackson, I'm the chairman of the committee. Councillor John Ogle and Roger Jackson are the two vice chairs of the committee, joined by Councillor John Clark, Keith Girling, Tom Hollis, Eric Kerry, Diana Meal, Mike Pringle, Alan Rhodes and Gordon Wheeler. And all that said, we obviously don't then have any apologies for absence. I'm jumping around the agenda, apologies. The first item actually is the minutes of the last meeting. So can I propose the minutes of the last meeting?
Second them, Chairman.
Thank you, Chairman. And I can't see anybody dissenting, so we'll take that as being approved. Thank you. I've just gone through apologies for absence. I don't believe there are any. And item 3, therefore, is declaration of interest by members or officers. Do we have any declarations of interest? Okay, there are none. Thank you. So item 4 is the period 10 financial monitoring report, and I'll ask Nigel Stevenson to introduce the report. Nigel.
Thank you, Chairman. If I may turn to table 1 on page 2, which indicates the anticipated forecast underspend. The overall revenue outturn has not changed much from last month, and it's 7.5 million for the council overall as period 10. This underspend appears as the council continues to respond to the COVID-19 pandemic, and the council will continue to monitor the impacts of COVID-19 upon its finances as we progress towards the end of the financial year. Significant variances are reported on children and young people's, adult social care and public health and personnel committees, with significant overspend reported on the traders as well. There are some minor variances on other committee budgets. I'm not going to go into those details, they're all set out in the report. Moving on to the capital programme, table 3 on page 7 sets out the latest position on the forecast outturn, and this indicates only a minor variance to the revised capital programme that was only approved last month. The report also updates members on Treasury management activity in the period, and in addition, this monitoring report also includes performance data for the third quarter for procurement, accounts receivable and accounts payable. And during the year, responding to COVID-19 has had a distorting effect upon the performance data. Having saying that, the income levels now appear to be returning to normal. There is a slight increase in debt levels due to the suspension of enforcement processes, and invoices paid on time remain high at above 91% and appears now to be moving back to the pre-COVID levels of above 95%. Thank you, Chairman.
Thank you very much, Nigel, and once again, thank you to you and your team for keeping the finances in check in an incredibly challenging year for us. I'll formally move the recommendation, which is on page 20.
Formally move second, Chair.
Thank you, and I'll ask if there are any questions on the report. I don't see any questions on the report. Oh, Councillor Rhodes, Alan.
Yeah, thanks, Richard. Just on page 5, paragraph 12, I note in the report from the director that he states that it's important to note that considerable uncertainty remains regarding the longer-term implications of responding to the emergency. Yep, I get that. And then later on in the paragraph, he said, in addition, information continues to be developed regarding significant areas of the authority's budget, including home to school transport, looked after children and adult social care and health services. I wonder if Nigel would expand on what he means by information continues to be developed on those 3 areas.
Thanks, Alan. I'm sure Nigel will oblige.
Yeah, thank you for the question, Alan. Yeah, and it refers to the fact that we get a few specific grants, as in that the main table that's at paragraph 8. There's some significant grants there in terms of but they are specific. So again, for home to school transport, particularly, we've had a number of grants from the DFT, but it's been coming to us almost term by term or almost half term by half term. So we don't really know the amounts of money we've been getting, but the government has been sticking to its word in terms of providing the support for local government that we need. So as we progress, I suppose, into post-Easter, we'll find out if there's some more specific grants. And likewise, similar goes for adult social care, because I'm aware that we're getting additional contain funding. And again, as we continue out of lockdown 3 into June, I'm anticipating that we'll again see some additional money coming through for us as a local authority for the support of contain funding, contain management across the county council area and in partnership with our district councils in that provision.
Thank you, Nigel. Alan, are you happy with that?
Yeah, that's helpful. Thanks. I can understand why the uncertainty remains. So yes, that's helpful.
Okay, thank you very much. I'm just going to remind members just to mute microphones unless you're speaking, because there's a bit of background noise which makes it difficult to follow, especially on the live stream. I can't see anybody else indicating to speak. So with that, it has been proposed and seconded. Can I see everybody in favour of the report? We do need to go to a named vote, I'm afraid. Pete, if you'd like to go through the members.
Yep, thank you, Chair. I'll just read members' names out in alphabetical order if you just tell me for, against or abstain. So Councillor Clark.
For.
Councillor Girling.
For.
Councillor Hollis.
For.
Thank you. Councillor Richard Jackson.
For.
Councillor Roger Jackson.
For.
Councillor Kerry.
For.
Councillor Meal.
For.
Councillor Ogle. You're muted.
For.
Thank you. Councillor Pringle.
For.
Councillor Rhodes.
For.
Councillor Wheeler.
For.
That's carried unanimously, Chair.
Thank you very much. We'll move on to item 5. And I appreciate item 5 and item 6 might run into each other. We'll need to take them separately as the separate vote, but if it's a point that covers both, then so be it. So I'll ask Claire Dyson to introduce the report on item 5, please, Claire.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. So the first of the two reports being brought by Risk and Insurance today is in relation to the proposed restructure within the Risk and Insurance team. The proposed changes include a small-scale, cost-neutral restructure that is intended to bring additional resilience and capacity by addressing the two main existing pressures within the team. The first pressure relates to the volume of claims received at peak periods during the year. Highways claims account for the highest proportion of claims managed by the team, and these are generally high volume, low value. As weather conditions can exacerbate and accelerate the deterioration of road surfaces, the team experienced significant peaks in claim numbers during certain periods of the years, generally the winter months. The current structure of the team allows for 2 officers to handle these claims, whereas the proposed restructure will increase the number of officers to 3, enabling the load during these peak periods to be shared. The second pressure within the team relates to general resilience. The team currently has 1 administrative support officer who undertakes the team's specialised administrative duties. This role is key to the claims handling service, and when this officer is unavailable, the team are vulnerable to these additional pressures. The proposed restructure will see the administrative duties shared between 2 officers, building resilience by ensuring that in all but exceptional circumstances, there will always be at least 1 officer available to support the claims handling service. The proposed restructure addresses both pressures by amalgamating the duties of 2 existing posts. So this will mean that the current Scale 5 vacant claim handler post and the Scale 3 insurance technician post will be deleted from the structure, and 2 new Scale 4 claims handler and administrative assistant posts will be implemented. Appendix 1 of the report illustrates the current structure, and Appendix 2 illustrates the proposed restructure. Consultation with the team was conducted over a 3-week period in February, and no responses were received in response to the proposals. The proposals have also been communicated to trade unions and no concerns have been raised. It is therefore recommended that the proposed restructure as set out in paragraphs 15 to 18 of the report be approved to address the pressures, build resilience and increase capacity within the risk and insurance team. Thank you, Chair.
Okay, thank you very much, Claire. So I'll formally move that recommendation, which is on page 27.
Formally second that, Chairman.
Thank you, John. I've got Councillor Hollis, please, Tom. Tom,
Thank you, Chair. And yeah, sorry, I hope you can hear me, Chairman. Okay, but it's really nothing against the report. It seems all rather sensible. My only slight discomfort comes on a similar theme to what I spoke to at the Communities and Place meeting only a week or so ago. Is the fact that is it a sensible time this close to an election with a certain administration change, whichever, whether it be blue, red, whatever colour the administration going to be, it's going to be a different leader, different structure. Is it really a sensible time to be carrying out restructures like this, where in 60 days' time we'll have a lot clearer path? So not that I've got anything against it, I just think it's a bit of an odd time in the embers of one administration to be changing teams, even if it is such a simple thing like this. I think it's unnecessary, but obviously I have nothing against this particular item. It seems rather sensible on the surface of it, but that's all I've got to add, Mr. Chairman. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. I mean, I think it is a very sensible, relatively minor change to the way the team works, and this is an internal management issue with the way that team works, and I don't see any reason to delay changing the team by a couple of months. You would then probably want another month after May the 6th is out of the way before things start running, and we're not going to wait 3 months to make perfectly straightforward changes to internal structures. I've got John Ogle next, please, John.
Thanks, Chairman. Just going to say, enlarge on that. It's an efficiency improvement, and if Tom can see that it makes sense, so the quicker we carry it out, the better. If it is an improvement, and hopefully the other councillors will see that. If they don't, things will take their course. Thank you, Chairman.
Thank you, John. And I've got Councillor Pringle. Please, Mike.
Thanks, Chair. Just for Claire, really, just for clarification, nothing wrong with the paper at all, and support what John said, actually, and it being an efficiency, so we should move with it. But although it's going to be efficiency within the office, what benefits are there to those claimants coming through? I couldn't quite pick that up, Claire, sorry.
In terms of the actual improvements to the service users, obviously when we do receive our peak claims coming in, the turnaround on those claims can actually take us longer to do. So in effect, we'll have additional person being able to help us out during those peak times, which should reduce obviously the extension in the turnaround for the claimants.
Okay, you happy with that, Mike?
Yeah, okay. Yeah, thanks for that.
Okay, thank you. I've got Tom's hand, Councillor Hollis's hand, but I think it's a legacy, unless you want to tell me differently, Tom.
It is, yeah, I'm getting idle with technology, Chairman, thank you.
Okay, we'll try and remove it for you. Okay. In that case, I don't see anybody else indicated to speak, and it's been proposed and seconded. So can you take us to a vote, please, Pete?
Thank you, Chair. Councillor Clark?
For.
Councillor Girling?
For.
Councillor Hollis?
For.
Councillor Richard Jackson?
For.
Councillor Roger Jackson?
For.
Councillor Kerry?
For.
Councillor Meal?
For.
Councillor Ogle?
For.
Councillor Pringle?
For.
Councillor Rhodes?
For.
Councillor Wheeler?
For.
That's carried unanimously, Chair.
That's great. Thank you very much indeed. We'll move on to item 5 and a similar issue, risk and insurance update. I think it's Claire again, isn't it, Claire?
It is, thank you, Chair. So this is the latest 6-monthly update from the risk and insurance team, as the frequency of the meetings has been somewhat disrupted due to the pandemic. This report is set out in 2 parts. So the first includes a general update on the Council's claims experience, and the second provides an update on other key activities of the team. So the first part, the claims experience, is demonstrated in 2 appendices. Appendix 1 provides comparison of the Council's claims experience for employers and public liability risks for the last 5 financial years. The data has been provided based on the financial year the incident occurred, which means the committee will be able to follow the movement of these figures at each future 6-monthly update. Appendix 2 illustrates the number of highways claims open at the end of each quarter and the value of claims that have been successfully repudiated during the same period. It should be noted that the repudiation rates for highways related claims continues to improve. As previously mentioned, we do experience peaks and troughs in numbers due to the impact of environmental conditions. And from this graph, you can clearly see that the team were handling the peak of these claims in Q4 of 2019-20. It is also evident from both sets of data that the number of claims overall are currently below those experienced in previous years. And this can be attributed to the first lockdown, where movement of the population was restricted and solicitors were having to adapt to the new ways of working. Since then, the team has steadily started to see numbers return to usual levels. So moving on to the second part of the report, the team have been working on the development of an internal claims portal, which has further developed the online experience for members of the public accessing our service. The portal went live in February, and since then, any claim submitted by the public has gone directly to the portal rather than to the team's email account. The main benefit of the portal is its capacity to cope better with the electronic size of photographs and other documents than traditional email. So this provides further assurance for both claimants and for the team that all documents are received securely. To ensure that we continue to maintain best value for our services, the team have successfully procured the loss adjuster contract. The contract was awarded to Williams Pitt Limited, and the reserve contract was awarded to Woodgate and Clark Limited. The team have also commissioned an external audit of the defence of highways claims. The audit undertaken by the council's brokers included Risk and Insurance, the highways client team, and Via East Midlands. And we thank our colleagues in those teams for their participation in this audit. The audit has concluded, and we are now waiting for the report to be finalised. And we are hoping to be able to provide an overview of the report's key findings with our next update to committee. So I will pause there and welcome any feedback or questions in relation to our latest update. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much, Claire. I'll move the recommendation, which is that we consider as a committee if there's anything additionally, effectively, that we want to, any additional actions that we want to bring back. Obviously, it would probably be a report coming back to a different committee in the new council, but we can still ask for that. So I'll open this up. I've got Mike Pringle first, please. Mike.
I'll second it, Chairman, just to
Thank you, John.
make it formal. Yeah.
Thanks, Chair. Claire, just to follow on, and this is really for all of us, none of us want to be in a situation where highways is causing issues that it is, sadly. So are we seeing, are we able to note trends as to the issues that's been brought into us at all?
So in general, the vast majority of the highways claims that the council receives are in relation to potholes. So these will be general vehicle damage incidents that are being brought to our attention. Although there are obviously other incidents, the risks associated with highways is quite broad. So you do get all sorts of types of incidents, really, but the main ones obviously is potholes, and then you can have things like trips and falls relating to uneven pavements and surfaces and that sort of thing. But it is quite varied, to be honest with you.
So if I can, Chair, just to say so, as a member of the public, that's had a car issue with a pothole, and they've reported to you because they're following that because that's frustrating to them. Would you then report the pothole to highways, or would we expect then that the resident would still have to report the pothole? How does that work? Or is there a link?
So firstly, we would encourage the public to notify us of any potholes, whether there's an incident or not. So we would encourage them to do that. The reports come through straight through to our customer service team, and as highways are notified almost the same time as us, really. So they would obviously go out and they would investigate the incident and then report back to us, and we would review that. And really, it's a case of investigating and making sure that we have, we have had, reasonable inspections, and we have had the maintenance in place. And if we have, then obviously, and we can demonstrate that, then obviously the council would look to deny liability on that. Whereas incidents, if it was found the council had failed in some way, so we hadn't done an inspection in time, then obviously then we would look to settle that claim as quickly and fairly as possible as we could.
So sorry, Claire, just to confirm, so if I send an incident report through to you as a claim, Highways get a copy of that, and on our behalf, they would respond to it and check that out, which would support you in defending any claim?
So when the incident is reported to us, then the Highways inspector would go out and they would complete an ad hoc inspection of it.
Okay.
Obviously, we would also expect the claimant to provide details of the incident location and photographs of that, so we could easily find that. But yes, the inspector would go out to that and inspect it. And obviously, if it was found where it was at a level that it needs to be dealt with, then they would do so in accordance to their policy.
Okay, thanks for that.
Thank you, Mike. Councillor Rhodes, Alan, please.
Thank you, Richard. Thanks. I'm interested in the table at Appendix 1, and I'd welcome some clarity on that, if I may. So it seems on the public liability table that the total claims are similar in number every year, although quite a lot in 2019-20. And the total, the amount paid out seems to have changed quite considerably, gone down quite considerably actually. So 2019-20, we ended up with almost twice as many claims as in other years, say 2016-17, and yet we only seem to have paid out a fraction of the amount in previous years, £84,820. Also, the number of claims settled seemed to change. So 2017-18 was clearly a difficult year. 751 claims made, 333 settled at a cost of £527,000, 125. I'm assuming that must have been related to flooding, but again, any sort of explanation on that would be helpful. But I'm not going to talk about 2021 because it's an ongoing year, although it is worrying that we've had 464 claims in that year as well. But I just find some of these figures a bit confusing, and there doesn't seem to be any sort of similarity from year to year, and particularly 2019-20 seems very odd, with a very high number of claims but a relatively low level of settlement. I wonder if that can be explained to us in any way. And the number of outstanding, that's right. The other thing I wanted to mention was the number of outstanding claims, which has gone up exponentially over the years, from 5 in 2016-17 to 350 in 2020-21. Again, some sort of explanation around that would be very helpful.
Thank you, Alan. Claire?
Yeah, so just to, if we focus on the public liability claims, so this obviously relates to incidents that occur in those financial years. So as the years move on, then obviously we would expect the number of claims outstanding for those years to gradually fall. And as you can see, going along that line, you can see as the years go on, there's the number increases because there will still be some claims that are ongoing. And this could be for, generally it could be a more complex claim. So perhaps where it is a vehicle damage incident that can be, liability can be established quite quickly, then obviously the turnaround on that can be, quite quick. Now, if it's, say, perhaps an injury claim that requires further investigation, or it may have gone on to be litigated, those claims can take longer. So as you can see, at the moment, we are still currently dealing with, claims from 1920. And obviously this year, we are still currently dealing with the main bulk that are coming in. In terms of 2019-20, we did have quite a significant peak there. And I think if we think back, I think it was just prior really to the initial lockdown, I think it was about January, February time, we did have all that considerable flooding. And that does impact the road surfaces, it does exacerbate things. And we did see significant levels of claims coming through at that time. In terms of the amount that is settled, that will vary. You could have one particular claim that completely skews the figures. So you could have many pothole claims that settle at small value, say, a few £100s, but then you could have a significant claim, a personal injury claim that, has settled for, it could be within the 100,000s or it could be $1 million. So it's obviously, it depends on the type of claim that has settled during that period as well.
Okay, thank you.
That's helpful. Yeah, that's helpful. Thank you.
It may be that we can, when we bring this report back in future, or when it's brought back to a future committee, it might be that we can perhaps think about that table and lay that out slightly differently. So if there is one big year that's had a six-figure or a number of six-figure claims, we could perhaps just make mention of it in the report, because otherwise it does appear to skew the results. And I guess there's a general trend of people becoming more litigious nationally over this sort of thing. So, the fact that actually the number of claims settled is fairly constant. Not necessarily look at the number of claims made, but the number of claims settled as a performance measure. I've got Councillor Hollis next. Tom.
Thank you, Chair. And I certainly shared a lot of the concerns that Councillor Rhodes just questioned. So I welcome his questions. But my kind of points, and members won't be surprised to hear me say this, is related to the highways, particularly claims, as well as pothole repair. It seems that obviously we have continued with the use of ViaFix. We have continued with the use of spray to highlight potholes. And in my view, and certainly in the Ashfield Independent's view, this temporary fixes, of course, has been so we can have a strong legal case to prove to residents who do put legitimate claims in, or injury claims, whatever it might be, for potholes. And as we've just had it explained to us, we are then, as a county council, able to defend ourselves by saying that we carried out the work. But of course, it's not cost effective, because although we may save money on a few claims that we didn't get to the potholes quick enough, we're spending that much money on ViaFix and other cheap solutions that it doesn't seem cost effective. And I think that brings me to my question, really, and I'd like to ask this directly of the officer. What kind of works does the county council have to demonstrate in order to defend ourselves against the, let's use a hypothetical case, Mrs. Smith tumbling over a pothole, or Mr. Jones driving his car into a pothole and breaking his spring? What kind of evidence would you require from the county council's highways team in order to defend that? And then my second question is why does Nottinghamshire County Council's litigation and claims take rather slightly longer than other councils who can handle them quicker? Is there a reason are our more complex and they're simpler? Maybe I'm just Just those questions, really, Mr. Chairman. I may wish to come back on the answers. Thank you.
Right.
Okay, so in terms of the evidence that we would need, so the County Council has a highways inspection manual. So the policy for how it deals with its highways and how it inspects them, its safety inspections and its maintenance, that will all be set out within that manual. So it will obviously detail how often certain roads, certain type of roads will be
You're on mute.
You're muted.
sorry. I'll start again. So basically, in terms of investigating the claims, we would expect handlers to look at the highways manual, which is the County Council's policy for how it inspects and maintains the highways. And we would be making sure that the inspections had been completed in the timeframes that sets out. We would be checking to see if the council had been previously notified of any incidents or any other defects. And if we can demonstrate that at the time, of the inspection, that there wasn't a defect, and we can demonstrate that we've not been previously notified of that incident, and it's not been picked up in any ad hoc inspections, then we could then look to deny liability for that incident. Obviously, if we've failed to complete the inspection or we've previously been notified of it and we haven't responded to it, then obviously that would then, be for us to consider settling that claim.
Okay, thank you for that. Tom, did you want to come back?
No, Mr. Chair, I'm quite happy with that. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. And the other thing is, I mean, VIAFIX isn't simply used to stop claims. VIAFIX is, there is a place for temporary repairs to potholes on busy roads when it might take time to bring in road closures and all sorts of traffic management to repair it properly. I think we'd all like to see a repair made, even if it is a temporary one, before it can be repaired properly, just to keep the road safe. And it's really about keeping the road safe more than it is about preventing claims. Nigel, you wanted to come in.
Yeah, I think Councillor Hollis asked a very interesting question about the time frame for turning insurance claims, and I don't want us to miss that question. And it's probably something that we probably won't be able to answer today, but it's probably something we could address at the next time that we bring a report back. Is that okay for you, Councillor Hollis?
Yeah, that's be appreciated. And I suppose the only question thinking about it that I didn't get answered properly was directly to the use of VIAFIX. So would the use of VIAFIX as a temporary solution stop or help in the litigation claim if, in the hypothetical case of Mr. Jones and Mrs. Smith that I pointed out?
If I may, Chair? I don't think that one comes into it. I think it's the incident is the pothole itself when it was there originally, Tom. I think VIAFIX is the remedy to the pothole, as Claire said, based on what the policies are for the depth and size of the pothole itself. I think you might be alluding to maybe it re-emerging at some other time, but that might lead to a different incident. Not to the actual incident itself, albeit we hope that the VIAFIX doesn't lead to another incident, but I can understand where you were going.
Okay, Claire, did you want to add to
that? Yes, thank you. I was just really looking for clarification in terms of the second question, in terms of the timing that the claims are dealt with. I think I was just looking for some clarification really as to whether that is in terms of the repairs themselves, whether we're providing information on how long it's taken us to do that, or whether it's in how long it's taken us to turn the claims around for the actual claimant and actually giving a decision on liability. So I think it's just for me to take that away really and understand what what I'm bringing back to the committee.
Yeah, I think what we'd like to see is some information that compares us to other councils, because on the face of it, it looks like we're doing a good job in turning cases around. And I understand, you know, 2016-17 is a long time ago. There's 5 cases outstanding, and I'm sure they're all incredibly complex. But an average time that we're taking as compared to other large highways authorities, I think, would give us an idea how we're performing against our neighbours. Okay, I don't see anybody else wishing to speak, in which case I'll ask Pete to please take us through the vote.
Thank you, Chair. Councillor Clark,
For.
Councillor Girling,
For.
Councillor Hollis,
For.
Councillor Richard Jackson,
For.
Councillor Roger Jackson,
For.
Councillor Kerry,
For.
Councillor Meal,
For.
Councillor Ogle,
For.
Councillor Pringle,
For.
Councillor Rhodes,
For.
and Councillor Wheeler.
For.
That's carried unanimously, Chair.
Okay, thank you very much. So the final item then, item 7, is the work programme, and I'll move it.
Second, Chairman.
Thank you, John. And I appreciate this is, well, it's next month, but it's also post-election, but we do need to still have a work programme. Could well be changed, of course. Any questions or comments on the work programme? Okay, in which case I think we can do this as a vote by exception. Is it, are we safe to assume this is passed? Is anyone opposed? No, in which case then that's approved, and we'll close the meeting. Thank you all very much.
Thank you.
Thank you, Chairman. Bye, everybody.
Thank you, Chairman.
All right.